Welcome back. Today we're looking at a summary and review package for Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now.
Right? A really ambitious submission. Trying to distill a book like that is no easy task.
And they did a great job on the distillation part. I mean, the chapter summaries are really strong. They make a convincing case for the book's transformative power.
They do. And that smooth, almost promotional flow is, well, it's actually where the first big problem starts.
Ah,
The extremely positive descriptive tone of the chapter summaries clashes significantly with the single, overwhelmingly negative review summary, creating a jarring experience for the reader.
it really is jarring. You read through these meticulous summaries about presence and the ego, and it's all very compelling.
And then you slam right into this wall of pure dismissal.
Exactly.
The material reads like a full-on endorsement until that last page. And then suddenly the work is nonsensical and full of pseudo-Buddhist cliches.
It feels completely unearned.
It does. That sudden tonal shift, it just lacks any kind of internal groundwork. It honestly feels like two separate documents were just pasted together without any thought for integration.
So how do you fix that? I mean, isn't the point of a summary to explain the author's ideas first before you critique them?
It is, but it's not an all-or-nothing game. To make the whole thing more robust, the summary sections themselves should proactively address or incorporate potential counterarguments,
Even just briefly?
even briefly. Just a nod to show the analyst is aware of the controversy. It prepares the reader, you know?
Okay, so you're suggesting weaving in a bit of that critical perspective throughout the whole thing.
Exactly. A hint of intellectual tension.
How would that work in practice? Let's say for a specific concept.
Okay, take the pain body from chapter 1. The summary explains it as this accumulation of old emotional pain.
Right.
Well, instead of just stating it as fact, you could add a small qualifier. Mention that critics often challenge this by labeling concepts like the egoic mind or the pain body as, abstract.
As non-falsifiable.
Precisely, non-falsifiable ideas that rely more on metaphor than anything else.
I see. That's a subtle but really powerful shift. It doesn't undermine the explanation, but it adds a layer of critical awareness. It stops it from sounding like a fan's notes.
Right. And you can do that elsewhere, too. Think about the section on the inner body in chapter 3.
With the claims about the immune system and slowing down aging.
Yes, big claims. The analyst should just acknowledge that, these sorts of claims might be viewed by skeptics as, well, as unsupported by scientific consensus.
So when the final review uses a term like pseudo-Buddhist, it doesn't come out of left field.
Exactly. The reader has already been primed to think critically. Those little acknowledgments make the final negative review feel earned, not just tacked on. It's about building a bridge between the summary and the judgment.
A solid bridge. I like that. And that need for solid evidence, it leads us right into the second major issue.
The critique itself.
While including a critique shows completeness, the isolated review summary is too broad and lacks the specific evidential support needed for the critique to be taken seriously by an informed reader.
It's the core of the problem, really. The review calls the book a mix of New Age and pseudo-Buddhist cliches.
Which is a very strong, very dismissive verdict.
A huge claim. But then it offers no evidence. It's an accusation without a trial. Where are the receipts?
Right. A good critique, even a really negative one, has to be grounded in the source material. This one just offers these high-level dismissals, cliches, nonsensical, but gives no concrete examples of how Tolle's synthesis of Zen or Sufism falls short.
So an informed reader just asks, okay, show me.
Show me. Show me which concepts are oversimplified. If you can't do that, the critique is just an opinion piece, and frankly, not a very useful one.
So the suggestion is to go back and actually build that case. Yes, we need to expand the critique by identifying and referencing specific ideas within the summary that fuel that negative assessment. The material has to show why the reviewer reached that conclusion.
So let's make that concrete. The review says cliché. How do you show that instead of just saying it?
You use the summary's own material. So you reference the concept of psychological time from chapter 7.
Okay.
Then you briefly explain which older traditions, like Stoicism or certain Eastern philosophies, presented very similar ideas centuries ago.
Ah, so you connect the dots for the reader.
You connect the dots. You show that Stoicism already heavily emphasized focusing on the present moment and letting go of future anxiety. Suddenly, psychological time doesn't sound so radical. It sounds a bit like repackaging.
That's real substantive criticism. It moves beyond just name-calling.
And that's what's needed. The problem isn't using the word cliché. It's the failure to substantiate it with historical context.
What about the other claim? The one about referencing religious texts and other literary works?
Same principle. You find an example, point to the idea of dissolving the separate self-sense from Chapter 5.
A core concept.
A core concept, right. Then you note how integral that idea is to the Buddhist traditions Told pulls from, and you frame the critique around that. Does he properly credit them? Does he deepen the idea? Or does he just simplify it for a mass market?
So instead of just saying pseudo-Buddhist, you're actually making an argument about intellectual appropriation or oversimplification.
Exactly. It changes the critique from a simple insult into a substantive argument. It shows the reviewer is an informed scholar, not just an angry reader.
It elevates the entire package.
It really does.
Okay, let's move on to the final part of the submission. The category list. And I have to say, this part was, genuinely surprising.
Surprising is a polite word for it.
The overwhelming volume and lack of curation in the listed categories severely dilute the material's focus and undermine its effectiveness in reaching the intended audience.
The sheer randomness of it is just staggering.
I mean, some of them are fine. Nonfiction, self-help, psychology, spirituality, that all makes sense.
Of course.
But then you get hundreds of keywords like 40K, military fiction, smut, chick lit, cooking.
Hold on, smut. You're not kidding. Smut was actually on the list.
It was, alongside Zen. It's just a bizarre choice. It feels like they just copied and pasted a master list of every tag imaginable.
It has to be. I mean, a kitchen sink approach like that works directly against the goal of a focused summary. It tanks the credibility.
Completely. If I'm searching for serious analysis on consciousness and I see it tagged with chick lit and horror,
You immediately dismiss it. It suggests carelessness, or worse, that the creator doesn't understand their own subject matter. You end up being found by no one who actually matters.
it's like a critical act of self-sabotage to put all this work into the analysis and then destroy its credibility with bad metadata.
The categories are supposed to be a path for your target audience. This path leads everywhere, which means it leads nowhere.
So the suggestion has to be pretty straightforward here.
To the 10 or 15 most relevant terms. Focus only on the core concepts: being, presence, ego, time.
A serious edit. Where would you even start?
You start with the very big knife: surgical elimination.
Okay?
First, remove everything that flat out contradicts the focus: military fiction, horror, detective, smut, gastronomy. They all have to go. Immediately. They add zero value and just create noise.
That's the obvious first step to restoring some integrity.
Then, you focus on what's left. Double down on the categories that perfectly reflect the text's core ideas. Keep spirituality, philosophy, mental health, personal development, consciousness, and definitely Zen, since it's mentioned in the author's bio.
So you're building back up from the core. What about some of the more technical or scientific-sounding tags like quantum mechanics?
You have to ask if the text actually relies on it. I mean, really relies on it. Since the summary talks about cellular intelligence, you could maybe keep something like neuroscience or meditation.
But quantum mechanics is probably a bridge too far.
It is. Cull those highly tangential hard science terms. The goal is surgical precision for a very specific audience, not just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
It's fascinating how all three of these critiques really work together. It's about coherence, from the high-level tone all the way down to a single keyword.
It is. It's about building a package that's logical and respects the reader. When you harmonize the tone, justify your critique, and target your audience correctly.
Then the work becomes both credible and effective.
Exactly.
So, to sum up, the main points for improvement. First, harmonize that positive summary tone with the negative review.
Weave in counterarguments early to create that intellectual tension.
Second, back up the big claims in the critique. Provide specific, evidence-based examples. If you say cliché, show the historical origins of a concept like psychological time.
And finally, create a focused path for the reader. That means aggressively cutting those hundreds of distracting categories down to the essential few.
Absolutely.
Those changes will make this package logically robust, tonally consistent, and highly targeted. We really do appreciate you sharing this with us. It's complex work, and these changes will absolutely maximize its impact. We look forward to seeing the refined material. Please feel free to submit your work back in for another critique once you've had a chance to implement the feedback.
Until next time.